should say company documents. Let me look, hold on, I'll tell you what it says. So company documents on the first page, just scroll down. The bottom right box says company documents below the calendar.
Do you want to see one of our screens? I can take a screenshot, or you could, I could share.
Are you not seeing company documents?
Oh, no, we see company documents, but up above it is a big white box with gibbery.
Oh,
It's like it's trying to show the calendar, but it's not.
oh, that's not good. Maybe try reloading.
Will do.
See if that fixes it. If not, we'll have to fix, we won't, I don't want to take this time trying to fix
Right.
technical problems, but
I'll take a screenshot and send it to you in the chat,
okay.
just so you're aware.
Says ROG Prosper Portal on the left, and then you go to,
Then if you scroll down, you shouldn't go anywhere, just scroll down and you should, do you guys see my screen right now? So this is the portal. And if you scroll down, company documents are right there. Hopefully,
where do you see company documents?
right there. This box.
It's on the second line down, bottom right of 8 boxes.
I don't think I saw that one.
All right, let me just email it to you, Cheryl.
I have
Iris, were
social
you able to
media.
find it?
I found it. Yes. I'm
Okay, you got it.
going to send it to
Diane
you.
got it. Okay.
I'll put it in the chat.
Okay, so I just emailed it to Iris and to Cheryl.
Okay, cool.
So you guys will have it. All right, so this is my first time presenting it this way. Totally, like I said, changed. So we'll see how I go. I wish there were more of our newer guys on here, but I thank you all for coming. Hopefully the new guys will watch this recording. And then they'll get 10 minutes of us trying to figure stuff out. Gotta love technology. All right, so let's jump in. So I did a podcast a few months ago, gosh, not even a few months ago, more like a year ago, probably now, on the 10 keys to success in real estate. And so that's what we're going to focus on today is our mindset, controlling fear, because we all are afraid. We're going to talk a little bit about our finances and goals, but we do a lot of that more in the new agent training itself in the first few weeks. We'll talk about the importance of education, your sales skills, the importance of your database, video, and then we'll talk about what it all boils down to, which is conversations. And then how do we have more of those conversations is through our time management. So if we can master these 10, we can be highly, highly successful. And for those of you like Diane and Cheryl and Carrie, I would take an inventory and rate yourself on where you are on all of these right now in your business. You know, where are you struggling? And then maybe we even do a one-on-one together and talk about where you're struggling in these specific in these specific areas. So something to think about. But when you're brand new, you're struggling in all of them because you haven't done any of them yet, if that makes sense. Okay. So
will we be able to print this out, Carlin?
Yeah, it's a PDF.
Okay.
So you should be able to have the PDF, and you guys can print it at the office if you want. I'm going to have it in the new agent training manual that we're working on getting put together for you guys. So you'll get a copy of it in that as well. Okay, so let's kick off with mindset, and I'm going to blow this up a little bit more. But the key is having the right mindset. You know, so the first question I'm going to ask you all is, do you have an open or a closed mindset? Meaning, am I open to learning new things? Am I open to growing? And I assume you are, because you wouldn't have jumped into real estate if you weren't. But I have people in my life with a very closed mindset. They think this is all life has to offer. There's nothing more. And to me, I think that's tragic. So I'm going to believe you all have the open mindset. We've got that one covered. The next question is, do we have a go-getter, make it happen kind of mindset, or are we hesitant to pull the trigger? And that comes more from our personality type. Like if you're an overanalyzer before you pull the trigger, we're going to have to work on stop over analyzing, just pull the trigger, right? 80% of action is coming from pulling the trigger, not from analyzing and preparing ahead of time. So are we going to go get it done, make things happen? Optimistic. Are we optimistic by nature or are we pessimistic by nature? If you're a natural pessimist, this one's going to be hard for you to overcome, and you got to overcome it. Because the last thing you want to do is be in client relationships where you're the Debbie Downer of the group. You want to invoke excitement. You want to invoke enthusiasm. You want them always seeing the positive in things. You will make your life so much harder if you're the pessimistic one. And so I really challenge you to think about that right now and be honest with yourself. Do I go glass half empty or glass half full by nature? And it's okay if you're pessimistic by nature, but you need to know that and fix that and overcome that in the world of real estate. My pessimists tend to, they'll do one open house, nobody came, open houses suck, right? Like that's the attitude. Instead of nobody came, but that's okay. I had time. I got to go on and do social media and I got to write personal note cards and I got other things done, right? Like they take what could be construed as a negative, turn around, find the positive and make it a positive experience and a positive event. Which one are you? And again, if you're pessimistic, you're gonna have to work on that. And so we'll talk about how do we work on that in a minute. Being focused, having a focused mindset, right? Are we chasing every shiny penny? Do we have ADD or ADHD and we just get sidetracked really easily, especially because I'm about to tell you social media is really important. If you get sidetracked easily, you're going to have to really set boundaries on your social media and really control how you're spending that time and catch yourself when you're going down a rabbit hole. So something to keep in mind. Are you goal oriented? So in real estate, you can't jump in and say, I just want to make money. I just need to make money. You've got to jump in and say, I need to make this much and figure out what are the activities you have to do to make that money. And so being really goal oriented will help you stay focused. It all works together, I promise. I am deleting that so my phone won't go off. Okay. So take a minute right now. And if you don't have this printed out, which none of you do, because I just gave it to you, just jot down on a piece of paper, what are you? Do you have these characteristics? Are you the opposite of these? And if anybody wants to share, I would love to hear your thoughts on this. But the first step is to acknowledge what are we and what do we have to fix or not fix, but adjust, right? The first step is knowing, and we can't adjust if we don't know. So does anybody want to share? Carrie, go for it. You got to unmute.
I have an open mindset, but fear gets in my way.
Okay.
I'm not always a go-getter. I just spent a weekend with my friend and she just thinks forward. She doesn't dwell in the past. And I love that about her. And that's why I went to spend that time with her. So I'm trying to do that, to be a go-getter. I mean, I am, but again, fear and struggles from the past get in the way. I'm totally an optimistic person, even by Strong's, strength finders.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I've got some good stuff. Focus is hard for me. I'm ADHD, squirrels, stress. Like at the meeting yesterday, I should not have had a training and sat in the middle of the room doing that training. I should have gone into a different room. I ended up not doing the training at all. Goals, goals can help me, but those last two, focus is my hardest problem. And admittedly, I've got other things going on and I'm going to have to cut some things out. And I'm learning that I can't do 3 to 5 things at one time in my life. And I don't mean it from the time multitasking. I mean, what I'm trying to do right now. So I will talk to you about that as I find that job. I need a job. So, that's me.
Yeah.
Just listening.
No, that's good.
Emotions. Yeah.
And thank you for sharing that. The fact that those things are half the battle, right? And so, working on those, we can only improve as long as we know what we need to work on and improve on. And you are very optimistic, and I love that about you. And and the go-getter, like I think you're absolutely a go-getter because you have multiple jobs going on. It's just a matter of focusing on the
Yep.
ones that are going to bring you the results. That's the key.
Yeah.
Awesome. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. Anybody else want to share? All right, so let's move on. So, identifying who you are and then what you need to work on to help you, that's going to be important. And you're going to be able to do that through, books, podcasts, webinars, visiting friends who have the opposite strengths. Find an accountability partner amongst the other agents maybe, and hold yourself accountable and be like, hey, if you hear me go negative, make me pay $1 into the negative pot, or whatever it is. Sometimes everyone's going to go negative in their lives, even our optimistic ones, we're going to get negative. The key is not to let it ruin the hour and then the day and then the week, right? Sometimes things are going to happen. A lead you thought you had is going to pick another realtor, and whatever it is, you can spiral in a way and let it ruin your hour, your day, your week, your year. Or you can give yourself 5 minutes to feel bad and be negative, but then set a timer. And at the end of those 5 minutes, you let it go and you move on, because the last thing you want it to do is to sabotage and ruin everything else you have going for you. So things to think about, visualization and affirmations are the biggest mindset keys that I can encourage you to start doing every single day. So figure out what are the weaknesses, create positive affirmations to fix to the opposite of those weaknesses, to read out loud to yourself every morning. With my affirmations, I used to have them in my car. You've heard this before. A lot of you, I had them on my mirror in my bathroom. I laminated them, put them in my shower, and then I was blind and couldn't see them because I didn't have contacts in and couldn't read it. But, put them everywhere, start reading them and repeating them and saying them out loud to yourself. Make it a mantra. Visualization. I want you to pick one thing to visualize. And a lot of you have heard this story. My visualization when I was at the height of my selling success, my goal was to have 20 listings at all times. That was my one thing, 20 listings at all times. So I was like, where's the next listing? Where's the next listing? Where's the next listing? So because listings solved all my other problems, right? It brought me money, it brought me leads, buyer leads, everything else. Listings did it. So I would visualize every morning in my shower, sitting on the floor in my shower, visualize another for sale sign going in another yard. I'm getting another listing. Literally, I visualized another listing coming in. I visualized another listing coming in. So for you guys, right now, it's probably buyers. As new agents, we tend to work buyers more than sellers. Buyers aren't, scrutinizing over your experience. They just are happy you're willing to help them, that kind of thing. So buyers are probably what you're going to be going after first. So visualize doing a buyer consultation with a buyer and getting them to sign that buyer up, or whatever it is, whatever you want to pick. But pick one thing, visualize it, and that one thing needs to lead to the success that you're wanting to achieve, right? It's the one activity that's going to bring everything else. So pick that, visualize it, and practice visualizing it multiple times a day.
I've got a question.
Yeah.
What would you say your percentage was as far as referrals for clients?
At the height of my business,
Yeah, was it? What
80,
percentage was referrals?
80%.
So mostly referrals
Mostly referrals. For most experienced agents, by year 3,
because of your database?
it will be database, it'll be referral. But until year 3, you have to consistently work that database to get there.
Right, you have to build your database.
And you got to build it. But
Okay.
so then you're trying to find leads anywhere you can get them. So you're doing all the open houses, you're doing, internet leads or phone duty or whatever it is, door knocking, cold calling, there's a million things you could do, but you got to go find the leads until that database is big enough and thriving and giving you that business.
Would you say looking at or knocking at doors at apartment complexes is a good thing to do?
Most apartment complexes have a no solicitation rule on their
I
property.
see.
Yeah, so you probably can't do that.
Okay.
I would, if I were getting in the business now, I love first time home buyers. So I would be doing a first time home buyer webinar every month online. And if you guys want to do that, I'll help you do it.
Okay.
I would be going to apartment complexes, asking them if I can hold a first time home buyer webinar in their complex. Some are very all for it and some are very against it. We were doing them at apartment complexes consistently before COVID, and then when COVID hit, we stopped. And so no one's picked that back up, but that's another great one. We used to host a builder tour. So come to the Buda office on Saturday morning. We're going to go jump in a bus together and tour 5 new home communities for the day, have lunch, and get to learn all the communities. And you can pick up buyers that way. I mean, there's so many things you can do, but we got to figure out what is the client you really want and where are we going to get it. And we can't chase too many squirrels, right? We only want like 4 pillars for you guys to focus on right now. Database is one of them. Open houses is probably one of them. Your social media is definitely going to be one of them. And then we're going to find a 4th one. But those are good questions. So my point to this piece is to figure out what do you need to improve on, and then find the books, the podcasts, the webinars, the videos to help you overcome those. And there's a ton of them out there. And then work on affirmations and visualization. It sounds corny. If this is the first time you're hearing about these, you're going to think I'm a nut job, but I cannot stress how much it really works. It opens your minds to more possibilities. It seems to attract more. Like when I was at the height of my game in real estate, I had a coach who held me accountable and made me do the hard things every week, because I knew if he kept the pressure on me to keep going, to keep focused and keep doing all the hard stuff. If I didn't have my coach, I would let my foot off the gas and I'd be like, oh, you want to go to the lake for the day? Let's go to the lake for the day. Instead of me going, no, I got to make my calls and then we can go to the lake, right? Or whatever it was. So I paid my coach to keep the pressure on me, to keep me focused and do the things I had to do. And the business came to me because I was doing these affirmations. I was doing this visualization every day. And so I got so much more business when I was focused and doing all that. I attracted more business to myself. And it sounds so weird, but it really happens. And people would be like, is coaching really helping you? And I'm like, to me, it's worth every cent, but everybody's different. Right now, I want to be your coach. Your mentors want to be your coach. So you don't need to pay for one. But if you don't take what we offer you and take this to heart, you're going to struggle for sure. Ending each day with gratitude and journaling will help you have the right mindset before you go to bed. If you go to bed stressed, you're going to have horrible sleep. And the next day you're setting yourself up for a bad day because you're tired and grumpy, right? But if we're grateful at the end of the day with whatever it is, like everybody can end their day with one thing to be grateful for, right? And we journal. I'm going to get you in the habit of reflecting on your days. How did you spend your day time management wise? Were you proactive and controlled your day, or did your day control you? And so journaling about that, working through that, identifying what happened in the day that sabotaged your day, journaling and talking about that. Those things will help decompress and take the stress and anxiety away, so that then you have a good night's sleep and you're setting yourself up for a better day tomorrow, if that makes sense.
Carmen,
Uh-huh.
question. So for us new agents, us who really don't have much to go off of, when you say to send like stationery, stuff like that, how do we, who do we send that to? Is it people that we already know, or do we wait until we build that database?
We're gonna talk about it here in just a few minutes.
Oh, awesome. Okay.
I promise you we'll get to it. Good question.
And then one last question.
Yeah.
Would you say that listening to podcasts, are those the best way to get the accurate information for us right now?
Yeah, I love podcasts. It depends on what the topic is. But podcasts are things you can listen to while you're exercising, while you're cleaning the house, while you're driving from here to there and everywhere. So getting the habit of listening to a podcast every chance you get will really help you. And then who you listen to, you'll there's a million of them on real estate, or I would balance it between mindset and technical real estate stuff. So I've posted several podcasts on Hub in the past. Joshua Smith, he's really blunt and abrasive, but I thrive on that. Like, just be black and white with me and tell me to get my shit done. Excuse my language. But that's how he is, right? Just do it. I'm a just doer. I'm a high D. You tell me to do it, I'm going to go do it. Just like Steve was talking about the other day. But some people really like more delicate and ease into it. And so there's podcasts and coaching, real estate coaches on podcasts out there for everybody. Tom Ferry's a big one. I love Tom's podcasts. He does all kinds of different series you can listen to. Real Geeks is a great, they provide a website, but they've interviewed the top agents who are successful at different things. So like the top agent who crushes internet leads, the top agent who crushes for sale by owners, the top agent who crushes expired listings or whatever it is. So if you're thinking about a niche, you know, listening to those podcasts or watching those webinars are great to help you get ideas. Now, again, I don't want you guys going out and trying 20 different things. We got to be really focused. So it's really important. I don't want you to start chasing too many squirrels because we're not going to be good at any of it. So,
And the reason I ask is just because I've been wanting to make, you know, reels and stuff like that, but
Mhm.
I wanted just to make sure that I'm saying the correct information. So that's why I was asking where I could get that information and where I can get it accurately.
yeah. So it depends on what kind of information you want to put out there right now. Like
Mhm.
you and I could do a one-on-one or maybe in Tuesday's class, we could talk about it a little bit. But, you know, like the first step is what kind of audience do I want to speak to? Is it going to be first-time home buyers? And it may be for you, you know, like, so then I want to talk about why renting versus owning, you know, what are the differences? What is it? How much does it even cost to buy a home these days? What does interest rate mean? Why do I care? Like, there's so many things you can talk about. But for you, keep in mind, and we'll talk about this in social media piece in a minute,
Okay.
a lot of your reels should just be about you and your life, right?
Okay.
80% of it should be about your life, you're a realtor and what? And so be about the and then we're sprinkling in 20% about real estate.
Okay.
Good questions. Okay. I love to set this requirement, and some of you will never read a book, and that's okay. I have to just accept that. But if you get in the habit of reading 10 pages a day out of a book, you will get through 10 to 12 books a year on average. So the average book is about 300 pages. So 10 pages a day, you're going to get through a book a month. So I would challenge you to do podcasts while you're driving and read a book 10 pages a day every day, you know, before you go to bed or whatever. I like to take a bath every day. I have books all over my bathtub everywhere. I have to read physical books. I can't read on a Kindle. I'm not electronic. That's just not me. I would focus at least an hour a day on mindset and working on mindset. So this is, to me, different than education, right? The education piece is more on how to go get the FSBOs and the expireds. The mindset I'm talking about is overcoming my fear. How do I, you know, keep an open mindset, a positive attitude, whatever those struggles are, let's work on that. Okay.
Hey, Carly?
Here's, yep.
I'm just searching Joshua Smith and there's a million of them. Do you know what is it Get Shit Done?
Yeah, let's get shit done.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep. All right. So here are some books you can start with. So these top group here are some good ones that are functional, technical, real estate related books. And then these are some self-improvement books. Again, figuring out, you know, what do you want to focus on? Let's see. I don't have the 5-second rule on here, but I love the 5-second rule. So for those of you with fear or with the ability to talk yourself out of doing the activity, I would read the 5-second rule. Now, the funny thing is the 5-second rule, you'll read the first chapter and you got the book, right? Like it's a short book, but it once you learn the 5-second rule, that's all you need. So I'm going to tell you the 5-second rule right now, and then you don't need to read the book. But the 5-second rule says you get 5 seconds or less to think about whatever it is you need to do, and then you got to go do it. You've got to take the action. I've learned I can't even give myself the 5 seconds. And so for you, a lot of you have heard this before. One of my big things is I have to exercise in the morning, and I'm not even doing that right now. So I'm going to be a total hypocrite. When I was exercise in the morning, because by the evening I'm exhausted. So the night before, I set my alarm and I visualize my alarm goes off, I jump out of bed. My alarm goes off, I jump out of bed. My alarm goes off, I jump out of bed. And I literally tell myself that like 20 times in my head out loud before I go to bed. And then when I wake up in the morning, my alarm will go off and I jump out of bed. If my alarm goes off and I give myself more than 5 seconds to think about getting out of bed to exercise, I will talk myself right out of getting out of bed to exercise, and I won't do it. And it's the same way with cold calling, it's the same way with door knocking, it's the same way with internet leads. Like if you sit there and think about making the leads, the fear will creep in and you will not do it. You have to like fake yourself. You have to get all set up and be like, oh, it's such a pretty day. Oh my God, look at that squirrel. Boom, I'm making calls and I'm doing it right? Like I'm not thinking about going to make the calls. I'm thinking about other stuff. And then I grab the call and I just start making the calls. And it sounds crazy, but that's how I overcame my fear of making internet lead calls. And for those of you that have heard me in my scripts and dialogues or heard me make the calls and call nights, you know I can make those calls. But I had major fear in the beginning of making those calls, major fear. And I could talk myself right out of not doing it. But I knew, just like Steve said the other day in class, right? If he takes $80,000 in cash and puts it right in the middle of the room and he said, you have to make 2 hours of calls every day to earn this $80,000, would you do it? Absolutely. But do we do it? No, we don't. We don't make the calls. We don't do the hard stuff. And so we've got to figure out how are we going to get over that fear. When we're getting to fear, I'm going above and beyond. But that was the 5-second rule. The whole point of that was the 5-second rule. All
I
right.
agree with that. I overcame that with door knocking. Yeah, some people are gonna tell you to get out of here.
Right.
leave. Some are gonna say, hey, do you need some water? So
Exactly.
and
And
I
you're having
conquered door
conversation.
knocking, but I need to conquer other things.
I'm so proud of you for overcoming that too. That's so great. I love it.
It's just too hot right now.
Well, yeah, that is for darn sure. I mean, the thing to keep in mind, all of you have fear. Everyone's afraid of looking stupid because they don't know what to say. They're afraid of failure. They're afraid of rejection, right? We're afraid someone's going to close the door in our face. We're afraid someone's going to tell us to F off on the phone, but it's not personal. They don't care who we are. They just are upset we interrupted their day. But our job is to let people know that we are an option should they have a need for real estate, and we have to believe we're the right option and the best option for them. So if we can believe that in our hearts, if you believe, you know, you will take really good care of that client and somebody else could take advantage of that client, they should know about you. It's your duty to make sure they know about you. And so we're looking for those people who want to know about you and who are thinking about doing real estate and don't have somebody there to protect them. And so we're going to look for them however we're going to look for them, right? You may not want a door knock or cold call. That's fine. That if that's not your thing, that's totally fine. But you got to find your thing. You've got to have conversations. So the first step is to identify what is the fear that's holding me back. I'm going to face that fear, and then I'm going to write an affirmation to help me fix and get over that fear. And I'm going to start doing affirmations every single day. So I did an example here. I love to be afraid. It means I'm achieving my dreams. I love to be afraid. Bring on the fear. Bring it on. If I'm afraid today, then that means I know I was doing the hard activities it makes to make the money in real estate. We got to face them. We got to overcome them. If you don't face them, you won't be in this business in a year. Finances. I'm going to go over this one kind of quickly. I think it's important. And I think this is the best piece of advice I ever heard. When you start out in real estate, I realized in the beginning, you're like, I need every penny just to survive, right? But at some point pretty quickly, money will start coming in and you've got to start setting aside for taxes. So I recommend you set up multiple accounts. The checks are all going to come into one account. We're going to take a third of that and put it into a savings account for taxes right away. I can't touch that money. I would put it at a different bank and I would be able to send it electronically to that bank account. And I would put it at a bank that doesn't even have a physical front. So I can't go to that bank and get the money today. Does that make sense? Like put it away, make it hard to get. Then out of the remaining money, half of that is what you live off of. Half of that income is going to go to your life and living off of, and then the balance is going to go to operating your business. Now, those percentages are high, and that's if money is starting to come in consistently. So in the beginning, it may be my tax account gets $1 because that's all I can afford to give it, and the rest I'm going to live off of right now. And that's okay, right? But just identify the quicker you can start doing it this way, the better off you will be. I have an agent, I love to share this story. It's going to make you laugh. So she said, how do I do this? What do I do with my money? And within a year and a half, she was making good money. And I said, a third has to go to your tax account. And if you end up with a bonus at the end of the year in your tax account, you don't use it all for taxes, you can spend something, spend something on yourself. And because she needed a reward. And so she ended up going and doing cosmetic surgery. I will not say the procedure, but she ended up doing cosmetic surgery on what was left in her tax account one year. She was so excited. So that can be really fun and rewarding. But we want to get in the habit of splitting up our money. Eventually, you'll get so busy, you'll form an LLC and you'll run it through a business and do all that. But don't worry about that right now. I just want you to get in the habit of, I've got to have an account set aside so money goes to taxes, because the last thing I want you guys to do is end up at the end of the year. Most agents do this, right? Most agents make money all year long and go, oh, I'll have a closing next April to pay for my taxes. I'll just bank on a closing and that'll pay the taxes. And it's like, that is the surest way to not have money for the tax man and to get behind on taxes. So I'm trying to avoid that. Goals. I'm not going to go deep into goals right now. Goals are really important. We talk about them in new agent training. So I'm not going to spend much time on that today, but I want you to make sure you have a goal.
You froze.
You froze, Carlin.
Let's try that again. All right. I hope you all heard that. I don't know what you guys heard. That was so weird. You all disappeared. Okay. So education, no more than 25% of your time each week can go to education. That is a hard rule. And so you need to look at your week and say, can I spend 10 hours a week because I have another job? Can I spend 20 hours a week? Can I spend 40 hours a week? Can I spend 50 hours a week? And out of that number, 25% of it will go to education. No more than that. The two top things you'll need to do in education at first are your new agent training classes, obviously, and learning the 1-to-4 family contract, and then learning the listing agreement. A page a day, I want you guys to work on learning those documents. It's really important. Beyond those things, if you have extra time in your week to that 25%, then you can add in other company classes, title company classes, ABOR classes, whatever you want. But especially if you're limited on time like Carrie, you're trying to wear multiple hats and make money right now, you need to really identify how many hours a week can I dedicate to real estate, and no more than 25% of that time can go to education, because the rest of the time you've got to be doing lead generation, prospecting, conversations, appointments, or we're not going to make the money. And so the tendency as a new agent is I spend all my time in education because I want to learn it all before I go do. And you can't. You have to go do, or you will not learn. Diane, do you think that's right? Like, you've learned so much more now with your listing going through all this than before you got the listing sitting on the side.
Yes, absolutely. The different experiences I've had with closings have given me a lot more hands-on than if I would have just listened to training over and over.
Yep. Yeah. The trainings just don't make any sense until you start doing it. Yep. All right. Sales skills. So again, in new agent training, we're going to go over the scripts and the objections, but you guys are really going to want to do role playing and practice with one another, and get good at these, because without these skills, you're going to struggle. Your numbers are not going to be as good. Your conversion of your leads are not going to be as good until you learn your scripts. And so I loved, Cheryl, you asked me, why did I bring Steve in the other day? It cracked me up because Steve almost said everything I say to you guys. Like, the next step is, right? I teach you that in open house conversion of leads. When an open house leads in your open house and they're talking to you and you're getting these green lights, you say the next step in the home buying process is for us to get together. Let me buy you a cup of coffee. we'll get to know each other, see if we want to work together, talk about the home buying process, blah, 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 blah. Like that is scripting 101. I love that. He said that, I almost started clapping. So excited. Beyond learning the scripts, it's how to handle the objections, right? So you're going to get common objections. Oh, we're busy this week. Oh, my husband's not there, can't be there. You know, whatever the objection is, we're not ready. It's not a good time. You know, how do you overcome those? Learning those objections. And then the third thing to learn is the art of questioning, which you can all do right now. Practice asking questions. The minute you get objections, if you don't know how to overcome that objection, just start asking more questions. Tell me more about that. What does that mean to you? Why do you think now's not a good time? Why do you think waiting's going to make sense? Going deeper and understanding where it's coming from, where the objection's coming from, will help you. But questioning also helps you build rapport with leads. Questioning helps you get used to talking to people in the grocery store. What do you do for a living? You know, just questions can help really change your trajectory on sales if you get really good at asking questions. So I used to play a game, and for an hour, I could only ask questions. So no matter what the person said to me, I can only ask additional questions. And so practicing with one another, doing those kind of things would be really helpful. Database. So let's jump into database. So Iris asked in the beginning, you know, who am I sending note cards to? What am I doing? So the first step is to put everybody you know into an Excel file. You want their phone, their email, their mailing address. If you don't know those things, just put the person in your Excel file, and it's anybody that you know that knows you, like that would recognize your name. If they got an email from you, they know you, right? And that database may be 5 people right now. It may be 25, it may be 200. You could be Chad, and it could be 2,000 people, right? I don't care what the size is. We're starting with something. The goal is to get everybody in there and to collect as much of their information as possible. You can ask them through Messenger. Hey, I'm trying to update my database. What's a good email for you right now? What's a good phone? You can look on tax records to see if they own a home. If they're renting, you're not going to be able to get their address, but if they own the home, then you'll be able to get their address through tax records, Realist. So the first step is get it all together. When you're working on that, I want you to label your database. You're going to label them in A, B, or C. The A's, know you, love you, trust you, would refer you or use you if they had a need. B's like you a lot, but they haven't used you, or you don't think they would use you. And C's are everybody else. And so we're labeling the A's, B's, and C's, and we're going to work them according to those segments. So the A's, we're going to start having one-on-one conversations with them, a coffee with them. Your A's are going to be your best friends, your family members that have to use you, that will refer you. So those coffees, those lunches, the kid's birthday party, whatever it is, right? We're saying, hey, I'm in real estate right now. Now I have these great goals. I need your help to help me get my goals. Keep your ear out. If you hear anybody talking about making a move, tell them you're going to have me call them. Tell them you know the best realtor in town to help them, and you're going to have me call them. And we've got to train our A's to give us business that way, to have me call the lead, not, hey, I gave the lead your card, right? If your mom gives the lead your card, that lead's going to lose the card, and you're never going to hear from the lead. So you want mom to give you their numbers. So you're going to train mom to, like, hey, Patty, you need to use my daughter, or at least just get her opinion. A second opinion can't hurt. Is it okay if I have my daughter call you? Oh yeah, sure, great. And then now I have permission to give Carlin the lead's information, right? That's what we want to do. We got to train our A's. But the biggest thing is we need to ask our A's for help. I have these big goals. I need your help building those goals. So we're going to start doing face-to-faces. I would challenge yourself to figure out how many A's do you have, and then, you know, do 2 face-to-faces a week, or at least 1 a week. Start being intentional. We're then going to get to where we're calling and talking to them once a month, and they're getting our newsletter. Ideally, those A's are going to start referring you, so then we're going to reward that behavior. It'll continue from there, but this is the basics to get going. Your B's get a phone call once a quarter in the newsletter. And I say these things, but like right now we're doing the client appreciation event. So all of these should be getting an invite to the movie night. Whether you think they're going to go, whether they live here or don't. I was talking to an agent earlier today, and she's like, well, my people are up in Leander. Let them know about it anyways. Tell them if they have friends or family down here to invite them. Tell them that if they happen to be in the area, they could come, like grandparents will invite their grandkids to go. You never know. The goal is just to have a conversation. And it's not around real estate. It's about, hey, my company is doing this great thing for my clients and my friends and my family. I wanted you to know about it. Hopefully you can take advantage of it. If not, pass it on, share it with others. Anyone that lives in Hayes County that would want to come to this, or South Austin that would want to come, invite them, So all your A's, B's, and C's should be getting that right now. And you can text the flyer to them. It doesn't necessarily have to be a phone call, but we've got to have intentional phone calls. We're going to talk about conversations. So then C's at a very minimum are getting your newsletter every month. So once you have that Excel file, you'll put it into our CRM and enable them all to get the newsletter automatically every month. It'll be branded to you. You're going to want to get with Amber and get all that set up so it's all done correctly. I'm not your tech person, so you can't ask me about it, but that's what we're doing with database. So this Excel file is the first group of people you're sending those note cards to, Iris. I'll make sure it's so on the new website under company documents somewhere, there should be the ABCs of building your database. But I will send it to you. Let me make it real quick.
And you
Is there a video? Sorry.
that
What's
might
that?
be,
I was gonna say, is there a video to help us like build that Excel? Excel?
No, it's literally like first name, last name, phone, email, address. It's really easy to import it into the CRM. You just got to get them in the right place. So just do a line across with the contacts information. And some of them you may be missing phone numbers, some of them you may be missing emails. Just get them all on there to start.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. I'll send you the ABCs of building your database. It's a memory jogger. It'll help you like think of who you use for different things that you can add into the database. The bigger the database grows and the more you effectively communicate to it, the more business you're going to get. The great thing about this database is that we're also going to make sure we're friends with them on social media, on Facebook, on Instagram, so that then we're staying in front of them automatically through all the intentional posting we're doing on social media. Okay, we're reminding them about real estate through social media. That's really important. All right. Oh, speaking of social media, here we go. Let's jump into social media. So I changed this from social media to social media, video, because agents who are just posting the static posts, like I have some agents who've been with me a year or two, and they're posting, I say static posts, just pictures, right? A picture of the just sold they did, or a picture of tips, or a picture of a house, or whatever. They're not getting the engagement and growth like my agents that are doing video are getting. The videos are where people are going to relate to you and like you and be attracted to you and want to work with you. And then we're going to sprinkle in, by the way, I do real estate every now and then, so that if they have a real estate need and they already like you, they're going to be like, oh, she's my go-to. I'm going to absolutely talk to her. And with your database, it's going to remind them, hey, I'm in real estate, because right now you're brand new and none of them think of you as a realtor. So we need your database to see you on Facebook and to see you on Instagram doing realtor things, so they start thinking of you as a realtor. It's really important. So Steve talked about it in the class the other day, but reels and stories are a must. We are seeing continuous stories throughout the day. So like, this is what's going on for my day. And then I check back in later in the day to let you know how it's going. And then I end my day with the results of how my day went. Or I'm about to gut this bathroom. I can't wait to get started. Then I do a progress video and then I show the results of it. Those kind of things. Like continuations make people come back and want to check in and see what's going on. Telling a story and leaving them cliffhanging, like those kind of things. People love that. Daily posts are also important. Like Steve said, on Instagram, your posts on your wall or feed page, whatever that's called, are going to be more like magazine photos, right? Like when you look at your Instagram, you want them to look, it looks more professional. It's coming across as your brand, your and with real estate in there, but in a clean looking professional, I don't want to say professional as in they have to be professional photos, but they're not messy photos, if that makes any sense at all. They're clean looking, like with one glimpse on somebody's Instagram page, you can tell, oh, they're a mom, they love their kids, but they also do real estate. They look like they'd be fun to work with, that kind of thing, whatever it is. Yes.
What I usually do, I don't understand the difference of importance of stories or posts. I usually post because it seems easier to see. I don't know.
So it depends on the length of the video. Are you talking about for videos?
Yeah,
So it depends on the length of the video. Like if you're doing a home tour, that's going to be a post because that's really long. But stories should be more about like what they're quick, way quicker. So they're going to be, like what's going on in your life today? What is it like being Cheryl today? What are your struggles? What are you learning? Are you touring? I can't wait to go check out this house. Come take a look. I'll show you the video on my post here in a second. Or, like, does that make sense? So they're different topics in different intentions and different lengths of time. And the reality is we need to do both, but where your audience is going to build that rapport and trust and start to like you are on those short reels, because the stories and reels are where they spend most of their time. They're watching those videos. They like to be spoon-fed videos, just like people like TikTok. It's because they're short and easy to watch. The long ones are going to be less viewed. So they're important to demonstrate, hey, I'm a realtor and I do real estate things, and I'm reminding my database I'm in real estate, but it's the stories and reels that are really going to pick up, help grow that database and help them bond with you, if that makes sense.
okay.
All right.
Thanks.
Yep. And so again, we're talking about 80% of these things should be your and, whatever your and is. And I'm a quilter, and I'm a dog lover, and I'm a mom, and my daughter's a competitive cheerleader, whatever the and is, we need, that's what 80% of our content is going to be. And then we're going to sprinkle in the real estate. So what are the real estate sprinkles that we can do? Steve mentioned the other day, creating a content calendar, planning it out ahead of time will be half the battle so that you're not struggling every day with what to do. But polls are a great one. Tips, tricks, marketing reports for sure. Twice a week, you should be previewing vacant listings or builder inventory. You can take pictures from those, videos from those. You can get a lot of content usage out of those. Your open houses, maybe nobody came, but it was a great opportunity to create all the social media content from it. And make sure you're doing a combo of videos and photos. I can't stress enough about that. Right now, I'm really seeing that the #1 predictor of success in new agents are those that are posting the videos. So if you're struggling with that, let's talk about it. We will be starting to do videos in the new agent training. So that is coming in the next round in the next 12 weeks. So, all right, 2 left to go, and we have 4 minutes to do it in. So all of these activities, social media, your database, open houses, for sale by owners, expired listings, whatever it is, whatever our niche is going to be, it all is a way to start having conversations, right? Like that's all it is conversations. So when our database isn't big enough to have enough conversations to get to the closing table, we need to go find people to talk to. So we do talk to our database, but we also are going to find other ways to talk to the database. And as new agents, it's probably going to be open houses. It's going to be company phone duty. It's going to be social media. And if those aren't generating enough conversations, then we're going to have to get involved in some way. Maybe we join a chamber of commerce. Maybe I join, like for me, I joined the Senior Citizen Center and became active with them. And I joined the YMCA and I joined the city. Like I was involved in a lot of things at the height of my career so that I knew a lot of people and had a lot of conversations about real estate all the time. But that's how I hit those big numbers. And you have to have, this number used to be about 50 conversations to get to a closing table. We're now seeing it tick up to an average of 75 to 100 conversations about real estate to get to a closing. So where am I going to have 100 conversations about real estate? Hopefully talk to a lot of people, or am I going to door knock or cold call, or again, there's a million ways to find the conversations. Your job is to figure out where I'm going to have those conversations. So look at what you think suits you and your personality, and then, you know, set the goals and start working the goals. And we'll help you with new agent training and doing that as well. But I challenge you right now to commit to, you know, a certain number of conversations about real estate you're going to have in the next week. And if you're brand new, you may only want to have 5 conversations about real estate. But if you've been here a while, I'm going to challenge you to make it as close to 100 as possible. You know, like, let's go big. So think about that. Does anybody want to share how many conversations they're going to have this next week about real estate?
Joe and I talked about wanting to jump in and do more open houses. Our big issue has been, our kids are all adults. And so when the weekend comes, there's 4 of them. So when the weekend comes, one of them will call and say, hey, let's do this, or let's get together and do that. And so we end up enjoying that time with our kids, and we want to do that.
Sure.
But one of the things that I hung on to was that you just said was do the work first. And then after you knock that out in the morning and in the day,
Yep.
then you go and have your fun, but
Yep.
save
Absolutely.
that after you've done the work part of it.
Absolutely.
So that stayed in my mind, and that's what I'm going to focus on, is do the work first and then go and do fun with them later.
Good. And you can give yourself, you know, like, if your goal is, if open houses is a pillar, then 40 weeks a year you do the open houses and the other 12 you don't. And then time block and do it around as best you can around the family. You know, we are seeing success in Friday night open houses. Like, make it a happy hour on your way home from work, hit our open house up for a drink. A couple of our agents have done those recently and had really good turnout. So you could do a Friday evening open house. It's a lot cooler. But Saturday, Sunday, you know, my agents who built their business specifically on open houses when they got into real estate, they were doing 4 a weekend religiously. And that's a lot. Like, that's a lot of work. I'm not saying you need to do that, but you know, they're a great opportunity to have the conversations. Again, I don't want to go down the whole open house training with you guys right now, but the key is to find people in those open houses that you can close for an appointment while you have them in the open house. You know, build rapport, gain their trust, and then go for the close. Hey, I'd love to take you to get you a cup of coffee. Let's talk about the home buying process. I'd love to put you on an MLS search that'll email you the minute listings come on the market, blah, 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 blah. Go for the appointment. If you let them walk out of the door of your open house, it's much harder to convert them to business later on. Okay, so number 10, the most important thing that a lot of you have heard me go on and on and on about is time management, right? All of this is fun and good, except that you all just either quit a 9-to-5 job, or, you know, took a break from a 9-to-5 job, or squeezing this in with a 9-to-5 job, or I say 9-to-5, but a job of some kind. And so we have to work on the discipline of managing our time and making sure the day doesn't take advantage of us, that we take advantage of the day. How are we going to do that? So this first page here is kind of an example of our routine. The books will tell you to do the hard stuff first. We do the prospecting in the morning. Let me turn that off. We do the prospecting in the morning because the day will get busy and we won't get back to it. We also won't have the energy to do it later in the day. We'll be sidetracked. We'll be, you know, we'll have excuses. We'll have that fear creep in. If you do it in the morning, while you're strongest, while you're mentally the fittest, you have enough energy, you'll knock it out. So the experts say knock out the hard stuff, the prospecting in the morning first, and then do appointments in the afternoon. These are just examples. You will then want your calendar to look like this. This is an example of my calendar at one point in time where I have appointments set, I have my prospecting, it's color coded. The colors mean different things to me. And my calendar.
Can you make it bigger?
Day is crazy. I don't think it's legible enough to read what it says. It's just an example. Like, if I show you my calendar right now, it's all about running this company. It's not about lead gen, but I could probably go back to my older calendars. That's not a bad idea. Maybe I could see.
Where's that calendar?
Well, this calendar was created in Google. This is a Google example of a Google calendar.
Okay.
You know, time blocking, color coding. So like green is money time. That's a hard appointment, lead generation, prospecting. I can move those around, but I can't take them off my calendar. I need to do 5 hours a week of prospecting. So let's talk about that. So let's get into the rules. So first rule is everything goes on the calendar or it doesn't happen. So for me, if one of you wants to meet with me, it has to be on my calendar. If staff, I need to do a meeting, it has to get on the calendar. If I want to work on cutting bills, cutting checks, paying people, I have to put on my calendar. If I want to work on recruiting, I have to put on my calendar. If I want to work on marketing or advertising, anything in the business, anything on the business, anything has to do with my kids, my husband, anything, it has to get on my calendar or it doesn't happen. Rule number 1. So we're going to plug into our calendar our non-negotiables. Lead generation, which we call HOP, which stands for Hour of Power, is a non-negotiable. You have to do 4 to 5 hours a week at a minimum. Your top producers making 6 figures are doing 2 to 3 hours a day of this. So lead generation can be social media, intentional social media, talking to people on social media through Messenger and stuff. Or it could be calling your database. It could be, following up my open house leads. It could be calling expireds, FSBOs, floor duty. There's a million different things for this hour, but this hour is all about talking to leads, following up with leads, prospecting for leads. We're doing at least an hour a day. That hour, like I said, you're going to time block it on your calendar for every day at 9 a.m., 9 to 10 a.m., or 9 to 11. I then, if something comes up and has to take up my 9 o'clock spot, the rule is I can move it to another time in the day or to another day in the week, but it cannot come off my calendar. I have to do 5 hours a week. Does that make sense? We then are going to save room for appointments. So if I'm a new agent, I'm going to plug in 2 buyer consultations a week. I want to talk to 2 buyers and have 2 buyer consultations a week. So I'm going to plug those in on my calendar. When I get to that time in the day for my consultation, if I don't have a buyer to consult with, I will practice. I will learn my scripts. I will work on getting ready for those, or I will do more prospecting to find more buyers. What happens if I've plugged them in on my calendar and now the buyer can't do that 2 o'clock time slot? I'll move it to where they can and make that work, and I'll move something else into its place. So I can trade, but again, I'm not removing. I then on Sunday nights, I'm going to look and see what openings do I have in my calendar and what do I need to work on. I need to work in my business building my database. I need to work in my business doing social media. I need to work on my videos. I need to prepare for my open houses, right? So I'm plugging in on Sunday night all those intentional things that I have to do in filling up that calendar. So by Sunday night, we have a full calendar for the week. Then Monday morning, first thing every morning, you're going to look at your calendar and you're going to set all your alarms. Like my alarm just went off because it's telling me I needed to wrap it up and get on to my next appointment. I set my alarms and it tells me all day long what I'm doing every hour or every 2 hours or however my appointments are going. And by appointments, I don't mean just appointments. I mean, like this hour I'm paying bills, this hour I'm driving McKenna to cheer, this hour I'm working on I'm writing my note cards. Whatever activity I have to do intentionally is on the calendar. My phone's now beeping at me, telling me to do. Does that make sense? It's crazy, but this is how you're going to manage your day and accomplish things. If you don't do this, the day is going to run you ragged.
So Carlin, you set that on the alarm in your phone, not on the calendar, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Like my calendar is telling me how to set my alarm on my phone. Yep.
Okay. But you could set a reminder from your calendar.
If you'll react to that, I just am the type of person who ignores them.
Okay. Okay.
So I need it yelling at me to stop talking to you all right now, shut this down and go do what I need to do.
Okay.
Yep. So yeah, however it works for you, you do it. But
Okay.
the thing to understand is the only thing that can make us successful is controlling our time and using it the way it's supposed to be used, right? So if we let the day go by and I didn't do my hour of power, my important thing that's going to make money for me, then in 90 days or 180 days, I'm not going to have a paycheck because I didn't do it. And so that's the most important thing to do is that prospecting time, talking to people about real estate so that I can have closings in 6 months or 3 months. You know, typically it's 3 to 4 months from the time you have a viable lead. And so we need to get in the habit of trying to control the day and be intentional and end every day, like I talked about in the beginning, ending your day reflecting on how did your day go. Did I control it or did it control me? And if it controlled me, what sabotaged me, right? Did my kids show up unannounced and now I cut everything out and I'm going to go play with them? And sometimes doing that's good. Like it's okay to do those things, but you've got to understand the sacrifice and the cost. So as long as you're intentional about those sacrifices and costs, then it's totally fine. But if your goals are here and your activities are not aligning with your goals, then you're not going to hit them, and you have yourself to blame for it. And so you've got to align the two. I coach a couple agents every couple of weeks, and I was talking to them this morning. 2 of them are moms, and their kids over the summer are just distracting them and pulling at them. And I said, we need to do a hard reevaluation of your goals. Your goals were here for the year. We're halfway through the year. If the kids are going to roll the rest of your summer, we're not going to hit those goals. And that's okay. Like, I don't care. Your goals, not mine. Judgment. So either adjust the goals so that you are realistic, because you do want to spend time with your kids and you're in real estate so you can. Or you say, no, I'm going to make my husband do some of that, or I'm going to make my kids part of my goals and get them involved. Like I had to make my daughter want me to achieve my goals. So then she encouraged me to get out the door and go work instead of being sad that I was going to work. You know, there's different ways to do it.
Yeah.
But the key is to figure out, what do I need to do? How can I master my time and start controlling it? The two killers of time are your email, getting in and reacting to emails and getting drowned down the email hole, and social media, getting into social media and getting dragged down that hole and not being intentional with your social media. You have to schedule intentional social media time. And then if you get distracted easily, Carrie, you've got to set yourself little goals and set your alarm every 10 minutes to check in with you, so that you stop what you're doing and go, is this what I'm supposed to be doing or not? Am I sidetracked again? Do I need to refocus? And so it could be a timer on your phone or a little egg timer, something to check in with you and go, oh yeah, I'm supposed to be doing this and I totally got sidetracked again. Oh yeah, I'm watching cat videos instead of talking to people on social media about home equity, you know, whatever it is. But those, to recap what we've just went over, I'm gonna, wrong way. I'm gonna jump back up to the top and then I'm gonna let you all go. You know, take a few minutes. For Iris especially, and Joe, you guys are brand new. You haven't gone through a full 12 weeks. So don't, see, it's yelling at me. Stop talking. I snooze it until I actually do what it's telling me to do. You know, don't freak out too much because you're like, I don't know the scripts. I don't know the objections. We're going to work through all that in the next few weeks. But identify, for those of you that have done this for a little while, where are you? How are you doing with these? What do we need to improve on? And then if you want to do a one-on-one with me, let me know. We'll go have lunch and dive deep into those. Okay. All right, guys, I'm going to let you go because I am late and I've kept you on for too long. But
Thank you.
Thank you.
you're welcome. You guys have a good weekend.
You too.
Okay.
You too.
Bye.